Well, now Senator Marco Rubio of Florida. So where is the president going wrong, Senator?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on tonight on this important issue. Let's remember what the impetus for all this was. It was this horrible tragedy in Connecticut, which, by the way, all of us were outraged by, all of us were sad about, and all of us would want to see never happen again. And by the own admission of the White House, what they've proposed today would do nothing to have prevented what happened in Connecticut or Colorado before that or any of these other places where this has occurred. The issue America faces is not guns, it's violence. I think the fundamental question is what is happening in our culture and in our society that's leading to people committing these atrocities, whether it's mental illness or some other violence or violent propensities that have come into our culture and into our society. Now, what the president is proposing is problematic for a couple reasons, but primarily because it doesn't work. And for many of the reasons you've outlined in the talking point memo tonight, these ideas don't work. It's not just Chicago. Washington, D.C. had a very similar gun ban, and it didn't work. In fact, violent crime and murder and all these things skyrocketed in Washington during the time of those bans. Now, I'm a concealed weapons permit holder in Florida. That means I had to have a background check. I had to be fingerprinted. I had to take a gun safety course. More people should get those kinds of things.
And you don't object to any of that,
no,
right?
I mean, that's
you
the
don't
state
object
law.
to registering the gun. You don't object to background check on you. You think that's good.
Sure, and that's the law in Florida. And by the way, also in Florida, we have something called 10-20 life. If a crime is committed in possession of a gun, it's a mandatory 10 years. If you pull out that gun, it's a mandatory 20 years. And if you use that gun, you are away for life, even the first time you commit that. And what's happened is that these criminals that use guns are in jail. They're not out in crime.
And so my talking points memo, based on your experience, you don't disagree with it.
That's right.
Okay. So we have some common ground here, you and me, anyway, and I'm hoping that the folks as well. We want public safety to be paramount. We understand that any gun ban isn't going to work, and it's proven all over the place. And we want to respect the Constitution. So how can we get President Obama on board with this? The only thing that he really did today that I don't think he's going to get through is the assault ban weapon. All right? Now, I say leave it to the states. Right. New York banned assault weapons yesterday, so you can't have them here. You know, I understand both sides of that story, but am I going to move to Florida because of the assault ban? No, I'm not. I'm going to stay in New York. But I don't want that to be nationwide. I want each state because there are different situations in each state.
Well, and first of all, look, at the end of the day, that should belong to the states to make those decisions, and I would disagree with that decision, but I don't live in New York. I live in Florida, and we don't have that, nor is there a movement to do that. But here's the fundamental problem. We all are outraged by these things. No one ever wants to see something like this happen again. The problem is the only people who follow the law are people who follow the law. Criminals don't care what the law is. They ignore the law. That's why they're criminals.
Yeah, but to be fair to the other side, the anti-gun zealots, I mean, they just want to make it harder to get guns. That's what they accomplished.
Yeah.
But with 300 million on the street already, and then a border that allows the federal government to send guns to Mexico, which is really ironic, it's not going to stop. So do you think, the final question is President Obama demagoguing this issue? Is he demagoguing it because he sees public opinion going in his area?
Well, I'm going to let you in on a secret. I mean, the president is a liberal, and this is part of the liberals' long-time dream for our country. Well, and he sees this as an opportunity to get some of these things done, but you talk about keeping us safe. If someone decides, I need a gun to commit crimes, they're not going to go to the local gun store and buy the gun. They're going to buy it from the black market.
They might. A lot of people in New York, criminals in New York, they drive down to Virginia, they stock up with their guns, and they bring them back, which is why you could make that against federal law, crossing state lines with certain types of weapons, and I wouldn't object to that. But the bottom line is, again, do you think the president is demagoguing the issue? Does he know what we've discussed here? Guns bans don't work. States' rights should be paramount. Folks have a right to protect themselves. But he's going to demagogue.
Look, I think this is what he's wanted to do his entire political career. He sees an opportunity to do it, and he's going to utilize every rhetorical device on that he can use to get to that point.
Does he really think that banning assault weapons is going to stop mass murder?
I think he believes that. I think he does. But not only does he believe that, I think he thinks he believes in this, and he thinks this is a huge bone.
So he's not a hypocrite phony. He really believes this public policy.
Well, I actually think the president, and he just doesn't have the guts to admit it, is not a believer in the Second Amendment, although he states that he is. And that's what I'm saying. If these guys don't, the Second Amendment's in the Constitution. I didn't write the Constitution. Neither did you, neither did he. If he doesn't want the Second Amendment to be in the Constitution, or if he wants to reform the Second Amendment, then have the guts to admit that.
All right. We're going to hold Senator Rubio over because we want to talk a little immigration with him. And what about President Obama's new demeanor? I see a change. We'll see if the senator does. Later down. Continue now with Senator Marco Rubio from Florida, who has put forth his immigration vision. So what's the headline of that?
Well, the headline of it is we need legal immigration. It's good for our country, but we also have a right to have immigration laws and as a sovereign country to enforce those laws. We have a problem. Number one, our legal immigration system is antiquated. It needs to be modernized for farm workers. We can't just have 6.5% of the people that immigrate here be on skill and talent. We need to up that number. That doesn't mean undermine family-based immigration, but we have to have more skill-based immigration. The second thing we have to do is real enforcement, and that includes improving the infrastructure at the border and getting operational control of the border. That includes workplace enforcement, whether that's E-Verify or something else that works. And that means, by the way, tracking people when they come in the country and when they leave as visitors, because 40% of our illegal immigration are visa overstays.
Yeah, they just well, all of that with the technology we have should be doable. But the real elephant in the room,
sure,
all right, the 12 million illegal aliens already here. What do you do?
And look, and I don't like that either. I wish we didn't have 8 or 12 million people here that are undocumented, but we do, and we have to deal with it. But we have to deal with it in a way that's compassionate, but also responsible.
But specifically,
well, here's how I would deal with it. First of all, if you've committed a serious crime, you're going to be deported.
You're done, right?
And no one would disagree with that.
Right.
If you haven't, you have to come forward. You have to be fingerprinted, background check for national security and crimes. You have to pay back taxes. You have to pay fines. You have to have been here for a significant period of time, know English, and be assimilated. And if you do all of those things, what you get is a work permit, basically, a legal status, not a green card, to allow you to be in this country legally and to work. And
you're going to get a driver's license, insurance.
Yeah, you'll be legally here, basically a non-permanent visa.
Will you be on Social Security?
No, you will not. Under that status, no one qualifies for any federal benefits.
All you get is the right to work, the right to have a driver's license, the right to stay here.
Right. That's the first part of it. And you'll have to be in that category for a significant period of time. When a significant period of time has elapsed, you haven't violated any of those conditions, and in fact the border has been secured, the workplace enforcement mechanism is in place, all of that happens, that would trigger a second phase. And that second phase is this. All you would get at that point is the opportunity to apply for the existing legal immigration system.
But you could still be here to do it.
While you're
waiting. To go back home.
But you'd have to get in line behind everyone that applied before you. You'd have to qualify for the visa when your term comes up. All you get is access to the existing system.
What I'm seeing here is maybe a 7 to 10 year period where an illegal alien currently here does get an opportunity to make a living, can stay, and then can apply for citizenship, but the process is going to take...
Well, actually, they don't apply. They apply for a green card, and then after you get your green card, you have to wait another 5 years to apply for citizenship, which you have to pass the exam and do all the other stuff.
That seems to be pretty fair. How does that differ with what the president wants?
Well, I don't know what the president wants. I mean, he talks about pathway to citizenship. My problem with that is this, and the way you do structure it. You can't do that in a way that's unfair to the people that are doing it the right way. In essence, I can't go to someone who is trying to come here legally, is waiting in line, has paid all the fees,
and say these people are ahead of you,
and say you should have come illegally. It would have been easier.
I'm very surprised, though. You're taking the lead in the Republican stance of putting this forth, and you haven't discussed it with the president? Hasn't he called you?
No, they've never talked with us about it. And the truth is, look, the way our republic is designed, the Congress is supposed to pass laws, and then the president can decide whether to sign it or not.
But you're a leader. Shouldn't the president be conferring with leaders in the House and the Senate?
Well, we're more than happy to talk to them and explain my principles to them.
But he hasn't called.
No. But here's the bottom line. We're going to work with our colleagues to get something responsible done that's fair, but also responsible. We don't want to incentivize people to come here illegally in the future.
You may know this. I've been very tough on this issue at border security, but it's getting better. The stats show it's getting better. I think they have a handle on it now, and I like your program. I think it's fair. So I want you and President Obama to get on the phone and get this thing so it doesn't turn into a bloody mess.
Maybe we can come on the show together.
Absolutely, and I'll give you the whole hour. You guys will come on and we'll sort it out. But you know what? I don't know if President Obama wants to solve these problems. I think he wants to destroy the Republican Party, particularly in the eyes of Hispanic American voters. So he's going to make it as hard as possible to get anything done and demonize you guys. I hope I'm wrong, but that's what I'm seeing here. With the fiscal business, and now with the guns, and now with this.
Well, I hope you're wrong, too, because ultimately, I mean, we have a chance to solve an important issue and do it the right way. But I don't think that's their attitude.
Wrong?
Well, I don't know, and we're going to find out. Here's what I can tell you. I can tell you that I believe that there are people in the Democratic Party, or I should say on the left, that would prefer to have immigration as an issue than as a solution.
Well, is he one of them?
Well, we're about to find out, and I hope that the answer is no. I really do.
Would you put in a call to him and see if you can talk to him?
I'm sure we'll be talking to them soon, one way or the other.
Would you let me know?
You don't think like he watches the show?
Well, he doesn't watch it. He's busy, but he gets a transcript of it.
Good.
But here's what I'd like to do. I'd like your office and you to try to set up some meeting with him and with some Republican senator leaders and go over and talk about it, and then let me know what happens.
All right, we'll do that.
Because that's the only way. Transparency is the only way that's going to get this done.
Well,
it's the only way that's going to get the fiscal thing done, the gun thing done, and the immigration thing. Transparency. If the President of the United States is not going to cooperate with the opposing party, we need to report that. That's going to be very, very, very important going forward, because we all want fairness, and I think your program's a good one. Hey, Senator, good to see you. We really appreciate you taking the time.
No, thanks for having me on.
Directly ahead.